Hollywood sign this afternoon to investigate a report of a man strapped to a huge crucifix attached to the letter Y in the sign. The man, wearing only a loincloth, hung from the 55-foot letter for 2 hours before officials forced him to get down at about 5 o'clock. Authorities say the crucifixion was a publicity stunt for the rock band Love Hate.
Jizzo'S somehow managed to get a crucifix attached to the letter Y on the Hollywood sign. LAPD and the LA Fire Department helped the man down from the sign, and then they arrested him today. He's going to be...
Okay, you guys, the big day is at hand. I got up to the sign around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and all my band guys were already there. They had put the cross together. Someone had climbed to the top of the sign and attached the pulley. We got the ropes and we attached it to the cross, and all of us slowly pulled the cross up the letter Y and attached it. Now, we were ready. All that we needed was a Christ-like figure.
This isn't the first time the Hollywood sign has been altered in one way or another, nor will it be the last.
The rest of the guys ran down the hill. The other ones that were left now were me and Joey. The two of us climbed up to the back of the letter Y. I'm holding on to my trusty chain ladder. And let me tell you, I'm 50 feet in the air. Was I scared? Yes, I was scared. Up to now, this whole thing had been theoretical. We were about to do this thing for reals. It was only then, when I was about to go over the top, that I realized that we had up.
It's another case of only in LA. Police and fire officials rushing to the Hollywood sign late this afternoon, where a man had chosen the letter Y on the sign in which to express himself. The man identified himself as Jizzo'S. He hung an elaborate cross from the letter Y and then perched on the cross in a Christ-like pose.
It didn't occur to me until that precise moment that the letter Y has a crook in it. So instead of my chain letter hanging straight down like this, we would have to put it into the crook of the Y and it would hang like this. I'm panicking right now. I'm going, dude, I can't do this. I can't do this. And Joey's going, you have to do this. You have to. And I went back and forth for about a nanosecond and I said, I have to do it. I have to. After all the work the band guys had done and my so-called devotion to the rock gods, if I hadn't have done it, I would have been branded for all time. It would have been like the Scarlet Letter, only instead of an A on my forehead, there would have been a big P for pussy.
Obviously, he felt as though he had to make some sort of personal statement on the Y of the Hollywood sign, some of those letters 50, 60, maybe even 70 feet high.
So I take a hold of this chain thing and I lift one leg over. And then I lifted another leg over and I'm holding on to this chain and both my feet are resting against the letter Y. This piece of shit $10 chain ladder decides all of a sudden that it's going to untwist itself. And so I'm holding on and it does three 360s in the air and I jerk down around 3 feet. The screaming started around then. I was holding on to this chain ladder, swinging in the air like a clock pendulum. It was fairly surreal. Finally, I stopped swinging and I see the base of the cross, and so I put my foot on it, and I put my other foot on it. That was it. We did it. We did it. We did it.
Jizzo'S somehow managed to get a crucifix attached to the letter Y on the Hollywood sign.
I was on the Hollywood sign, crucified on a cross. It's weird. It's totally weird. It's really quiet, and I can see the whole panorama of Los Angeles before me. So for about 5 or 10 minutes, I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just sort of basking in the victory. I figured I would be up there and be down within 20 minutes. I figured I'd be seen, the cops would come and get me, and I'd be down. I didn't realize that I would be sitting on that sign for over 2 hours. 2 hours.
For about 2 hours, the landmark Hollywood sign was adorned with a little something extra. A man on a huge cross.
The base that I stood on was only about a foot square. So basically, I had to stand straight. My feet couldn't move one way or the other. And the cross, the way we hung it, it didn't hang like straight. It hung like this. So I had to hold the backs of the arms of the cross to keep from falling. I mean, we didn't know. You know, they don't teach this shit at crucifixion school. Well, now what? So, what do you do? What do you do? You're stuck up here. You can't do anything. Birds are nesting in the cross. I'm up here crucified on the Hollywood sign on a cross, and no one gives a shit. Oh, the irony.
He stood on his perch on the face of the letter Y, and Y was exactly what police were asking.
So finally, after 2 hours of standing on this cross, I see a lone helicopter start to approach me. It's the guy on the video that goes, there seems to be something unusual here. Yeah, no shit. He's hovering right in front of me. You can see it on the newscast. Face to face. He's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And he doesn't realize that the propeller blades from the helicopter are shaking the shit out of the cross. So I'm having to hold on twice as hard. But I'm also on live TV. Then things started to heat up. After the first helicopter, another one came and another. Pretty soon there were 5 helicopters circling me like vultures. There's only one road that goes to the top of the Hollywood sign. And I could see from my vantage point little tiny fire engines and police cars and ambulances and paramedics all flashing their blinking lights, all coming up the hill. It was at that point where I thought, wow, I'm really And then the reporters came. I could see them scurrying up the hill like little cockroaches. You see, the initial reports was that I was a suicide jumper. So there they were, gathered at the base of the hill. They were all waiting for their faces of death shot. Yep, it's a jumper. Yep, we got another peg ant whistle up here. Okay, guys, turn your microphones on. We want to catch his blood-curdling scream as he falls to his tragic death. The park rangers, they got there first, and they were actually really pissed. You see, people have been messing with the Hollywood sign for years and years, but this was a first. And then the cops showed up, and they actually thought it was pretty funny. I saw them, they were actually laughing. And then the firemen came, and they kept yelling up to me, you gotta come down, you gotta come down. And I go, I can't come down. They go, no, you really have to come down. I go, I really can't come down, you see. I'm stuck up here.
Well, we shouted up to him, asked him, why, and he said, well, I'm an artist, and art speaks for itself, which pretty much speaks for why he did it.
Okay, so they get me down, and they put me in the handcuffs, and they put me in the car, and as we're driving down the street, I see hundreds of spectators on both sides of the street, and they're all cheering, and they got their fists in the air. I'm telling you, I felt like Billy Jack.
It turns out this so-called crucifixion was a well-thought-out plan between he and his band. Call it a publicity stunt, if you will. His friends don't deny it.
I don't know if it was publicity. I really don't know their actual motivations for doing it. Apparently it worked as a publicity stunt, though.
I bet they had a deal among the band and the lead singer. He couldn't produce like he was going to.
They hung him on the
So the band hung him out to dry.
They take me to jail, and they book me, they put me in a cell, and then they made me go visit the police psychiatrist. So I go to this guy's office, the psychiatrist guy, he looks me in the eye and he goes, why did you do it? And I look at him and I say, dude, it was a plea to the rock gods. He looks me straight in the eye and he goes, Jizzo, there are no rock gods. F this guy, what does he know? And after that, the city of Hollywood actually installed motion sensors and alarms all around the Hollywood sign so that assholes like me could never do this again. So, in a sense, I did the city of Hollywood a service. They should give me a plaque or something. Anyway, that's my story. That's it. It's your old pal Jizzo, rockin' and rollin', and stay tuned, and please subscribe to the channel.